Good morning, stackers. Here is my minimum silver price target by 2030. I'm going to walk you through it, make the case for it. Before we get onto that, hit the big red subscribe button to join the GMS family, and I'll put a link somewhere below to my private silver investor club. You get free silver giveaways, you get silver bullion specials, a great community, much more from only $1 per month. Here is silver on the quarterly time frame, priced in USD, $51.40. Right now, we've zoomed out to the big macro. It is on the logarithmic scale as well. Many of my subscribers have already seen this macro view. Of course, the 45-year cup and handle formation that is playing out. Do you think after $50 in 1980, $50 in 2011, we've just hit $50 now in 2025? Do you think that's it? Do you think we just head down from here? No, triple tops usually aren't a thing. We are moving onwards and upwards, and I'm talking, the next 5 years by 2030. And then, from there, maybe a bit of a dip, but then we've got lots more to go after that. But this is just up to the sort of 5-year move. Now, we need to talk about market phases and also 5-wave impulse moves. So markets move generally in 5 main phases. You have an accumulation phase, a public participation phase, and an excess phase. That's your blow-off top. Okay, then they have a period of distribution, a period of downward movement of consolidation, and then it starts all over again. And within those 3 market phases, you've got mainly 5 waves. Okay, now this is based on Elliot wave theory. I'm not the full-on expert. I'm not an Elliot wave technician, but let's do my best, and I'll give you my bare minimum. I've got some time codes as well if you want to use those time codes. So let's go back to what I believe is the start of the first wave. That's, we can pick the start if you want to take it from the 40s if you want, or just pick a point. That doesn't really matter to me too much, but I pretty much know where that wave 1 ended and the accumulation phase ended, and then we started the public participation phase. So let's start with Elliott wave. I'll just pick a point there. That's the top of your wave 1. That's in the late 60s. Okay, then you had your wave 2 pullback. That's what happens in wave 2. You pull back. Wave 3 is your public participation phase, where people are starting to wake up and go, wow, we're above that previous all-time high in the 60s. Something's going on here. Then you have a wave 4 pullback. And then you have the big every man and his dog is getting in. Now, this is a little bit different in 1980 because you had the Hunt brothers, and they noticed what was going on in silver, and they actually tried to corner the silver market by buying a whole bunch of it and then, drying up the supply to see the prices go through the roof. Now, that helped propel silver to that $50 mark in 1980. I believe if the Hunt brothers didn't do that thing, I think silver still would have gone through its excess phase. We just probably would have found a lower price somewhere, call it, $25, $30, something like that in $1980, bear in mind. Okay, not inflation adjusted. But we hit that $50 mark, but I would call this from here to here, it's a pretty kind of more outlying move. It's a bit of a stretch again because of that Hunt brothers thing. Then what we saw, so that was your accumulation, public participation, excess phase, right? 3 phases. Then you had a long period, and extra long, because I think this was such a large move. It needed a bit more time to get back to kind of fair value and to distribute, okay? So you had that move and that low down in the early 90s. So what we're talking about, 11 years, 12, 13 years for that big kind of bear market. So let's do the next accumulation, public participation, excess, 5-wave move. It looks like it's starting about here. Correct me if you think I'm wrong, if you're an Elliott wave technician, but it looks like to me that's the start of wave 1. So you've got wave 1, wave 2 pullback. Here's your wave 3 public participation phase. There is your wave 4 move, and here is your wave 5 excess move. So this took us all the way up to 2011. Now, after this 5-wave move, the exact same thing happened like it did in 1980. You have that period of consolidation. Now, this consolidation period from 2011 until around about here-ish hasn't been as long, okay? And that's, I think, because you had such an outlying move here on the wave 5. It pumped up so much again with the Hunt brothers cornering the market, etc. It was an outlying kind of pump. And then you've seen a longer drawn out bear market there to get it back to kind of fair value, okay? Because this was a much shorter, it was a sort of a much shorter wave 5 move, you can see right there. So we have a more brief period of consolidation. Now I think we are definitely in a wave 1, wave 2. Now we're in a wave 3. Let me show you right here. That seems to be the low right there. Some people might take it from here and do that and that. Okay, sure, you could do that. Or others might go 4, 5. Or others might take it from the thing that happened in March of 2020. We all know what was going on there. It was an outlying thing that we couldn't see, a black swan. But some people will take it, whether you take it from here to here or here to here, I don't think it matters because that looks like the top of the wave 1. So this is where I think we're sitting now. That's your wave 1. That is your wave 2. Now we're in wave 3. Okay. I'm just going to pop it here for the moment, and I'm just going to pop those there and there. Ignore those prices. We still have to put those in. So now we are in the wave 3 move. Okay. Now, do you think, as I talked about before, do you think after hitting $50 in 1980, then hitting $50 in 2011, now that we're in a public participation wave 3 move, look how high wave 3s can go above the wave 1. Do you really think we're stopping around about here now that we've broken $50 for the first time in history? We're in all-time high moves just recently. Do you think it stops here? Is that the top of the wave 3? No, absolutely not. So we have got a bit more time to go before we have that wave 3 top, then the wave 4, and then we're taking the wave 5 out to around about 2030. I think makes the most sense. You can give or take, a year or two if you want. It's not an exact science. Here's where I think we're sitting right now. So if you take also a look at, and I don't have the chart for you, but you can look it up yourself. If you look up silver seasonality, you can see that from around about now to around about February, April of next year is where silver tends to top out at, and then it takes a bit of a break. Okay, so I think we've got, and many other people, and I'm basing this on my own research and also the research of others, the wonderful people over at Mastering the Markets as well. I'm doing their year-long comprehensive course. They're very positive for, I'm going to move at least, I won't do the price, but I'll at least do the time. So around about, let's take it to, I'll put it to April 1st, 2026. So that's the timing, I think, of the wave 3 move. Now, let's do some previous price action history and base it purely on that. Now, again, this is my bare minimum kind of targets we're talking about for 2025. For 2030. Now, I'll grab my tool here. Now, let's take just from the top of wave 1 to the top of wave 3 from the 1998 to 2007 move or 2008 move. So that is a 185% move roughly. Okay, so I'm just going to do that. Take it from the top of there to the top of there. Now, this is not going to work out exactly, of course. We're just kind of doing an approximation. If I take, it's about 190% move. So if I take that from there to there, that's sitting at around about 90 US dollars. Okay, so that's where I think we could get up to. Now, again, it could be a bit lower than there. It could be higher than there, depending on the narrative. There could be a really good case to make that to say that, well, it could pump higher in that February, April timeframe because we've just made brand new all-time highs in 45 years. So there's a bit of more hype about it. Okay, but let's just take it to there. Let's say bare minimum. It looks around about that $90 mark, I think is quite doable by that February to April timeframe. So this could happen here. It could happen a little bit lower, okay, but I reckon around about that 90. And that's just, again, based on that, let's see, for around about April 2026. Around about there is actually really quite doable for the top of the wave 3. Okay, so you can head up to there. Then, of course, round about, again, February to April, we can probably put this on the monthly time frame if we like, because we're talking about February to April. So round about that kind of time frame there, around about your $90 seems about right, give or take a bit. I don't think we pump to $60, and that's the top of wave 3. It seems much more likely around about that area. Could it even hit triple digits before that time, and then that's the massive psychological value? Yeah, quite possibly. So $90, $100 by sort of February, April next year is really, really doable in that wave 3 public participation phase, again, given the seasonality for silver in this period of time, then you will have a wave 4 pullback. Now, this is where it's going to probably shake out a bunch of people, okay? And the wave 4 is probably, and again, ignore this wave 5 for now. We're going to, project very soon. This wave 4, if it's similar, you can have a big, deep wave 4 pullback. You can also see how long is that wave 4. Let's have a look to see how long that wave 4 was in previous times. That's going to be your price range. Let's do a date range. Not going to be exact, but there's the top of your wave 3 to roughly your wave 4 that was from 1980 to 1974 to 1976. That's actually quite a lot of time. Let me see if I can get that in. That's around about there. What are we talking? That's about 23 bars, whatever that is. That's about 700 days, so a little bit less than a year. Okay, so if we pump that out to here, and we'll take it from the other one as well. Let's see. So that's taking it to around about, let's see. So that's 23 bars. We'll do the same thing. From about there to about there. Let's do 23 bars. That takes it around about March of 2028. Okay, that's a decent amount of time for that wave 4 pullback. Let's just see if there was the more shallow one. We'll base it on that one. Okay, that's your wave 3 to your wave 4. That's a lot less. That's a lot less, actually. We're talking 7 bars, so much, much less. So what's that? That takes it to a lot less there. That's about, 7 bars? That takes it about to the end of November. I think it's probably somewhere in 2027. So I'm going to split the diff. Around about 2027 is probably that time. Yeah, you can say maybe that's 7 bars to the end of 2026, but there is going to be a period of probably at least, 6 months bare minimum of a wave 4 pullback. Now, the question becomes, do you want to just hold through that, or do you want to take some profits there knowing that a wave 4 pullback is coming? If you're buying silver for the longer term, you just buy and hold your dollar cost average, and it doesn't matter. At least you know where you are. You're at the top of the wave 3, then you've got a wave 4 pullback, but you still have the entire excess phase, that mania phase, where you think everyone was jumping into silver and gold now. Wait to the excess phase, which takes you out to around about 2030. So let's just say around about here-ish, and I think you would probably find the previous, that $50 level, $48, $49 level as absolute support. Okay, that would be a massive psychological value. Break out, make new all-time highs, and come back to test probably no lower than that sort of $50 mark. Could it freak everyone out, head a little bit lower? Sure. Okay, but the wave 5 excess move still has to go. So let's now do the calculation for the bare minimum target by 2030. That is where I believe the top of the wave 5 excess move will be around about 2030, 2031, etc., give or take a little bit. So I'm going to take the bare minimum move from this one here. Okay, the top of the wave 3 and the top of the wave 5 between that 2008 to 2011 mark. And bear in mind, again, this is more your sort of traditional wave 5 kind of move. If we're talking about a Hunt Brother move, we'll do that calculation in just a second. But really, let's take it out from here. Let's see, that is how big a percent? That is a 130% move from the previous top of the wave 3 to the top of the wave 5. Let's just do that now. From the top of what I think will be around about the top of the wave 3, that's sitting at around about $90 US. And let's see where that takes us out to the top of wave 5 for 2030, roughly. That is sitting at approximately $210 US. So if you want to call it $200 even, that's what I think the bare minimum target by the end of 2030 is, around about $200 US. We've taken a long time to get to this point, but you really needed to see my reasoning for that based on the 3 main moves, the 3 market phases, and also the 5 wave impulses. That's what I'm seeing. So from now, I think between February and April next year, anywhere up to around about 90-ish to possibly even triple-digit silver, you will have a pullback for a period of time, maybe into 2027, and then you're going to see that big wave 5 excess move. Now, again, let me be very clear. This is only based on this one here. We could be going much higher from there. Let's do the outlier, okay, and base it on the 1980 Hunt Brothers style. Imagine there's another set of people who try to corner the market, or who knows what's going on in terms of the narrative with silver at the time. Pick a narrative. It doesn't really matter, okay? Let's just base it on that. Now, I would say this is the outlying move for 2030, but you never know. Stranger things have happened, right? So let's base it on this. Instead of a 140% move from the top of wave 3 to the top of wave 5 in the sort of 1980s area, that's a 630% increase. I don't think this is going to happen, but let's just play that move anyway and see where we get to. What's that sitting at from the top of wave 3? Now, this is assuming that the top of wave 3 is at around about that $90 area. Okay, so all of this is speculation, right? If we do there, that's sitting at, that's sitting at 660 US dollars by the end of 2030, give or take, a year and a bit. By the end of the 5-wave impulse cycle move, your accumulation, public participation, and that excess phase. Okay, what do you think about that? Do you think 650, 700 US dollars by 2030? It seems a little bit outlying to me, but just take note of that. If this, then that. Okay, more likely I favor somewhere between this 200 and I think roughly $200 to $300 mark is sort of my ballpark area for 2030. But that is my bare minimum, at least in 2030, of around about 200 US dollars. So the question becomes, how would you like to double your money and then double that double within the next 5 years, give or take, from now? Does that sound like something you might be interested in? Well, if it is, you would highly want to consider getting into silver. Now, of course, on the daily time frame, the weeklies, etc., the number will go up, the number will go down, but that's what I am personally seeing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, bare minimum, that $200 mark. Tell me what you think below. Do you think there are massive narratives that I'm not thinking of? Are we talking silver squeeze? Are we talking Elon Musk buying silver for all solar panels? Who knows? Let me know what you think. Now, am I saying that silver is only going to go to that general area and then what, we're just done and dusted for years and years and years? No, the precious metals market has way higher to go over the next 20 to 30 years, something like that. So what does that mean? Let me get rid of all of this for a second. And let's have a quick look at what this might be on the more macro time frame. Okay, let me take you to the quarterly once again. I might even take you to, let's see if we can do it on the, or maybe even the yearly. Let's have a quick look. Okie dokes. What I think we might be playing out right now, you know how we talked about the 5-wave moves? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, those 5-wave moves happen on 1-minute time frames. They happen on all the time frames, including the larger ones. Could we potentially be doing the following? 1, 2, 3, 4. Pick a point. I don't know where it is. And then a 5-wave excess move. Ignore the price, etc., but that's taking you out to 2040, 2045, that kind of thing. Ignore the time, ignore the price. Is it is it unreasonable to say that this is a macro wave 1? That was the macro wave 2. Out of interest, where did we come down to on that macro wave 2 on the Fibonacci from this low and this high? That came down pretty much perfectly to the expected support range, bouncing at around about the 0.5 Fibonacci. That's a very simple move. I'm very normal move for a wave 1 and a wave 2. We've got a long way to go in silver, and I don't think we're done at 2030. But that's my bare minimum target, around about $200 and possibly even higher. Let me know in the comments what you think. And of course, would you do me a favor and please, as I mentioned before at the start of the show, head over to the Silver Investor Club. Again, it is a private club for new and veteran silver investors. I'll put a link somewhere below. There are free silver giveaways, specials, analysis, auctions, education, of course. I do private analysis of the silver price. We have private live streams for the premium members and much, much more. It is from $1 a month, and there is a 7-day free trial as well. Check it out, and you may want to be part of the amazing community right here. It's just going off tap, as they say here in Australia. Lots of action. All the members, 270 as of right now. Join the Silver Investor Club if you are into silver stacking, whether that be physical silver or even silver stocks, silver miner stocks. We talk about that too. Let's gather our community together and go on this massive silver bull run all together. Cool? Thanks. So thanks for watching. Appreciate it. That has been my bare minimum silver targets. I'm very excited for the future. Make sure you subscribe and head over to the Private Silver Investor Club. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, stay informed, keep stacking whatever you're stacking, and I'll see you soon.